A debate once confined to philosophy is now a practical problem. AI systems speak fluently, remember, and plan. If a future system reports being conscious, how do we decide whether to believe it? Wrongly granting consciousness raises deep ethical problems. Wrongly denying it is just as serious. We need shared evidence standards. A recent paper by Klatzmann and Doerig tackles this by asking what biology can actually tell us about machine consciousness. It distinguishes biologically grounded claims that are scientifically testable from those that are not. This lesson walks through that argument step by step. Consider a scenario that creates the need for the paper. A patient loses a brain region essential for awareness. Surgeons implant a chip perfectly mimicking the lost tissue. Same inputs, same transformations, same outputs. The patient wakes up, talks, recognizes family, and reports feeling emotions. Every measurement matches a normal, conscious brain. A researcher claims, because the chip is not biological, true consciousness is gone. The patient is a philosophical zombie. Why is science stuck? Every test of consciousness, reports, brain activity, behavior, shows the same thing as before. If the information processing is identical, the claim that consciousness has vanished cannot be empirically supported. This is the logical trap the paper targets. To follow the argument, we need shared concepts. Consciousness, science studies its subject by comparing conscious processing to unconscious processing. A brief flash is reported as seen on some trials and unseen on others. This contrast, tied to the participant's report, is the field's empirical anchor. Second, cognitive neuroscience treats the brain as an information processing system. What matters is the organization of computation, not the specific stuff. Third, the paper clears away weak intuitions. The fact that all known conscious systems are biological is an induction, not a proof of necessity. Calling a system just next word prediction is a redescription fallacy. Pointing out a difference between brains and computers does not prove that difference matters for consciousness. With these tools, we can map the debate. Computational functionalism, the dominant framework in cognitive neuroscience, holds that consciousness is about the organization of information processing. If a machine implements the right organization, it could be conscious regardless of its substrate. Biological naturalism, or BN, insists biology is not just a platform. Consciousness is a natural biological phenomenon. The paper's central insight is that BN is not a single view. It splits into two sharply distinct types with very different scientific prospects. Type A BN claims biology is intrinsically special. Even a perfect computational copy of a brain would lack consciousness because of what it is made of. The argument against this is direct. Science tests consciousness through behavioral reports and observable contrasts. Type A BN grants that a non-biological copy can produce identical behavior and reports. Therefore, the claim that consciousness silently diverges from behavior cannot be tested. This adapts the unfolding argument from earlier work. A theory that detaches consciousness from observable consequences is scientifically inert. The implant scenario is not a fantasy. Electrodes in the occipital cortex of blind patients evoke conscious visual percepts because patients report them. Type A BN must hold open the possibility that such a patient merely reported the percept without experiencing it. Type B BN offers a different route. Biology matters because it enables unique information processing that non-biological systems cannot achieve. The focus shifts from what biology is made of to what it does. This is a scientific hypothesis that must answer two questions. First, uniqueness. Is the feature genuinely restricted to biology? Second, relevance. Does it predict conscious versus non-conscious differences? The paper evaluates candidate differences. Consider continuous analog neural dynamics versus discrete digital bits. The authors offer a powerful hurricane analogy. Digital models capture what matters about hurricanes, even though the climate system is continuous. Showing a difference exists is not enough. Autopoiesis, or self-maintenance, may be unique to biology, but does it matter for consciousness? Dendritic integration is linked to consciousness, addressing relevance, but its uniqueness is unproven. The burden is on the BN theorist to provide concrete predictions. To ground this, the paper looks to a clear standard. Global workspace theory predicts that conscious stimuli produce a signature called ignition, while unconscious ones do not. This makes a crisp, testable prediction. For type B BN to reach this standard, it must make comparable predictions. When biological feature X is present, conscious state Y occurs. When it is absent, consciousness is replaced by non-conscious processing. This moves the debate from brains are different from chips to specific, testable hypotheses. The paper builds on three clear predecessors. First, it inherits the logical structure of the unfolding argument from Doerig and colleagues, which showed that integrated information theory's central claim was untestable. That same logic is applied to type ABN. Second, it relies on the redescription fallacy formalized by Millier and Buckner in 2024. A deflationary description of what an AI does not prove it lacks relevant capacities. This clears away weak arguments. Third, instead of rejecting BN outright, the paper reframes it. The strongest version of BN. Type B is not an enemy of computational functionalism. It is a biologically informed specification of what the right kind of information processing looks like. It builds a bridge between camps that have often talked past each other. The paper reaches three conclusions. Type A BN is untestable. Type B BN is testable if it specifies which features are unique and relevant. And testable BN is not automatically opposed to computational functionalism. If the required processing can only be realized biologically, both views can be true. Biology functions as a guide, not a separate solution. The paper notes its limits. Evidence that uniquely biological features are required for consciousness is scarce. Most arguments rely on correlation, not causation. The central challenge remains the same: understanding which information processing gives rise to experience. The paper calls for shared empirical standards to ground the debate in science, not intuition.